I've seen a lot of fans upset about Magomed Zainikov and the way people have been calling him John Pork. And the latest example of this is this thumbnail that was on Ariel Helwani's channel. And I've seen a number of people tweet this, and you should see the responses to this because people are really outraged and upset. And I can't remember the last time a fighter had their UFC debut, and there's been so many strong opinions on different sides about that fighter. Both really good. I've heard people say that this guy's going to beat Justin Gaethje. At least one person said that. And then we've seen the other side of it where like any sort of pushback on him, people are getting upset. So that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. There's a big controversy on X about this thumbnail that was used. I'm going to read it here from an account called Fedor's Nephew. He says, very disrespectful and unprofessional from Ariel, considering Magomed said multiple times the nickname bothers him. WCMU MMA, one of the big accounts on there, said, why did Ariel Helwani use the thumbnail? And if we go read the comments, I'll show you the video in a second because it's actually not what people think. But we'll go kind of read the comments right here. And it's your typical things of what you would expect. If we look at this, I'm pretty sure Ariel hates Islam and his team because of Ali. But yeah, very disrespectful, not shocking at all. Okay. Photoshopping a Muslim as a pig is insane work. Ariel sucks. Let's see. He doesn't care. Typical. Blah, blah, blah. So you see all this. And then on this tweet as well, you see a lot of people saying that basically the theme of what I've seen online is that Ariel did this on purpose because he hates Muslims and this is his way of getting back at them. That's kind of what we're reading here. He knows it'll spark reactions, probably give him live views. He's showing his true form. Someone showing, I guess, a dinosaur or a snake, whatever. Looks like a dinosaur to me. This mofo always provokes fighters. Let's see. He hates Muslims and is a militant Zionist or whatever. Okay, so let's see, typical Jew. I mean, again, this is the type of stuff you would expect, that Ariel hates Muslims and he did this thumbnail on purpose. So I thought, okay, yeah, maybe it is a bit crossing the line for an Ariel show. Like, doesn't seem typical of something that Ariel's doing. And then I clicked on the video and it's not Ariel's show. I know it's on Ariel's channel, but it is from the Boys Are Back show with Rick and Connor Burks. So it's their show. Now, look, Ariel does bear some responsibility for this because it is on his channel, but it's just funny that everyone just goes from 0 to 30, assuming that Ariel hates Muslim fighters and he doesn't want them on here. And again, I've said this a million times. Like, there are reasons to criticize Ariel. There are things that Ariel does that I don't like. There's certain things that he says to fighters, certain ways he tries to twist things and whatever. And I'm not a fan of that. And I've been vocal about that on this channel. But really, Ariel hates Muslim fighters and this is the thumbnail and you don't even click on the video. It's not his show. It's not his show. I mean, if you want to put blame on anyone, put blame on these two guys. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Again, he's even kind of like joked about it. Chanko has, about the fact that people call him John Pork, and it's Islam's fault. He said he didn't pronounce his name properly in English, so people are kind of running with it. But I just find it so funny how people get like so sensitive about this stuff, and then they also like want to go and then they make up some ulterior motive that like it's done on purpose because he doesn't like this fighter. Like, relax, okay? So I just think this is funny. And it's funny because these same fans who are outraged, the ones that are calling, say that Ariel hates Muslims, are probably the ones that are going on Jack Della Maddalena's wife account when she said that Jack was going to beat Islam and giving her death threats. I just don't get. I think one of the funniest aspects of MMA in 2026 is the fans that get so upset about like the smallest stuff like this. Like, yeah, is it great? No, but it's not like the end of the world. But then the same fans you'll see go into fighters' DMs and say horrific stuff. That I think is hilarious. The hypocrisy of MMA fans in 2026. So yeah, again, if you click on the video, it's not Ariel's show. It's not Ariel, sort of poking the bear. And, again, I know it's a pig and there's the whole thing with Muslims not eating pork and all that stuff. I understand that, but it's just a joke and it's harmless. There's no hate involved there, right? It's not like he said this guy sucks or this guy's a terrible fighter. But it goes beyond this because I don't know if you caught this exchange on the weekend as well. Chanko's manager getting into it with Danny Segura. So Danny Segura has this tweet out here, which I think is quite fair, actually. He says, Chanko is solid, but still needs a lot of work. And listen, you guys have watched my channel. I'm a big believer in let's not rush to conclusions. Some fighter will have a great UFC debut and then people are like, future champion. People said that about Terrence McKinney. And I like Terrence. This isn't throwing any shade on him, but I think we know now Terrence, not a UFC caliber champion, at least at this stage in his career, or UFC caliber contender. But he had an amazing debut, set records, got a huge win. People are like, oh my God, this is amazing. But this is why I think you got to have a couple fights in the UFC before we can start having those conversations. But I've been seeing a ton of glaze on Chanko. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is all he says. Chanko is solid, but still needs a lot of work. I think that's a fair assessment. He had a pretty dominant fight, but I don't think it's that bad. But then Chanko's manager chimes in and says, you don't know shit about MMA. You should cover swimming. I don't think it was that bad of a thing. It's not like he said he sucks, or all he's saying is, he still needs some work, which I think for a fighter making his UFC debut is totally a fair claim. Then Danny replies back and says, I bet you a high-level coach would tell you the same thing. Also expected from any newcomer. Danny's right here. Nobody is perfect complete package when they join the UFC. Not a Judchenko. He looked great. So yeah, that's fine. And then obviously someone gets sensitive about this here and says, yes, you can say that about anyone. So why say it then? Because people are overrating him. Again, Fight Society, go check out his video. I know I plugged him twice on the channel, but I do like his work, and he's going to be coming back on the channel here pretty soon. Did a whole video talking about the Glaze is crazy, and Demetrius Johnson talking about Ilia Topuria fight with Chanko soon. I think was what he said. Let me just double check the quote here. Yeah, he praised Chanko, saying that skills are legitimate. And again, DJ's within his right. I have a lot of respect for Demetrius Johnson. He's one of the best analysts out there. I think he's overreaching a little bit with this because, again, it's just been one fight. DJ called for him to receive a major step up in competition targeting Ilia Topuria. I mean, that's crazy talk. Come on. We don't see, and unless a fighter's a champion in another organization, we don't see them coming in the UFC and getting a fight against a former champion like that. That's just crazy. So I think, listen, Demetrius Johnson has a lot of good takes. I think he's wrong here. I think that's way too soon here or whatever. So again, part of the reason I'm sure Danny's posting this is because you're seeing stuff like this. Again, there's another content creator in this video who says that he would beat Justin Gaethje. Like, that's rage bait, obviously, but still, there's people that probably watch that and think the same thing here. So, Danny's saying this, again, people being like, you're just singling him out. This is another thing that annoys me. It's like, you can't talk about any fighter without people then saying, well, why are you singling out them? It's like, can't we just criticize fighters for whatever reason? And I think Chanko's great, and I think there is a lot of potential for him there. But again, people getting upset. But it goes even further than this. After this, Aaron does his assessment, and I like Aaron a lot, good friend of mine. He says the striking is elite, but perhaps the most impressive part is the striking defense. He can land with volume, completely evasive. So giving a lot of praise here, but again, I would say to Aaron, it's one fight. Let's not get too carried away. The guy he fought, Chanko's opponent, I mean, he's not, like, we don't know a ton about him. He was undefeated 10-0, but, hadn't exactly fought the best opposition coming into the UFC, right? 13-7, 12-6. That's all that. And again, it's not his fault. You fight who you're given, but, again, let's slow the brakes down a little bit. So, then he tags Danny again and says, this is what real media looks like. And then even people are chiming in. He's not elite, has a glass chin, bad defense. He does have bad defense. I don't think he has a glass chin, though. So anyways, you called me a bum. That's the definition of being disrespectful. I don't mind you disagreeing with me. That's normal either way. Great win by Chanko. He's solid. I always speak the truth. You should find a martial arts school. This may help you cover the sports better. Like, come on. We're going from 0 to 50 because you said he needs some work. Like, this is what I mean. So I just think it's interesting that we have this debuting fighter and there's so many varying opinions. And again, people getting so upset about this thumbnail. Like, yeah, if Ariel did this, if Ariel in fact did this, then I can understand some criticisms, but it's not because he hates Muslims. It's because he's trying to be creative and play off the meme that even Chanko himself has kind of played off. And again, people, click on the video. It's not Ariel's show. It's some other show that's on his network. And for people to pin this on Ariel, I think it's hilarious. Again, there's lots of stuff you can criticize Ariel for. This thumbnail for a show that's not even his. Come on, guys. We got to do a little bit better than that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, there's a lot of polarizing opinions here on Chanko. I want to hear your take on him. What do you guys think of him? Again, I think there's a lot of potential for him there, but we can't get ahead of ourselves here. And again, with certain fan bases, they tend to fall in love with a fighter's fighter too. Remember Abus Magomedov? People said he was going to destroy Strickland. I mean, we've seen it before where people really overhype fighters, and sometimes they don't get there. And maybe he will. And again, I think the intrigue's there, and I'm willing to have that conversation. But let's slow the brakes down a little bit. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.